So I want to share with you 3 Forex fundamental analysis books that you can read if you're a beginner with no finance background. Okay, so first book you should read, that is, I would say, the most basic one, very easy to read. This book is called A Concise Guide to Macroeconomics. One thing I like about this book is that it is very easy for anybody to understand. Okay, like if you don't have any economics background, you didn't study economics in high school, in uni, in college, then this book is for you. It's hardcover and also smells very good. Super basic things when it comes to FA. But there's something missing with this book is, you know how in FA we need to learn a lot of things, not just economic indicators like GDP, trade balance, inflation. Of course these are important, but there's a lot more to FA. Example, monetary policy. Example, fiscal policy. Okay, so if you feel that this is not enough, okay, not feel, but if you read this book and you'll be like, I want to learn more, then you can read this book. You have the typical macroeconomics basics, GDP, okay, same thing, inflation, employment, unemployment, and of course the thing that you need, which is monetary policy. Okay, the end of the chapters are just more examples like financial crisis. But the downside of this book, even though it's comprehensive when it comes to macroeconomics, is that it can get a bit too theoretical, because you know when you read macroeconomics textbooks, which I did back in university, okay, I was studying finance, and there was this module called economics. I had to study a book about economics that is like, I think it was that thick. Then you have a lot of economics graphs. You know how economists, they like to use graphs like aggregate demand curve, aggregate supply curve. So some people without finance background, they might feel that this is too theoretical, but you can skip it and just focus on the more important points. Because as a trader, you don't need to learn how to draw these graphs. So some of my past uni textbooks are super theoretical, okay? In fact, this one is my university's recommended textbook for macroeconomics. Uni textbooks, they are very theoretical and sometimes can get really dry, and they like to use formulas, jargons. It's very typical of textbooks, right? Once you've read these 2 books, then the next thing you can do is read something that's more specific to Forex, and then you can read this one. I think I've shown you this before in one of the videos, I don't remember which one. This so-called like a buffet, okay, not buffet, but like a book that has everything you need to know to get started. Basics of Forex, you know, the basic stuff. What is Forex? Who trades Forex? Why trade Forex? How to trade Forex? You get my point, okay? And the good thing is that it goes into a little bit on inter-market analysis, which is something you need to know, okay? Which are very important. Wait, I cannot see. Let me just skip to the fundamental analysis chapters, looking at the big picture. You can pause and read. And then chapter 5 also consists of risk on and risk off, relative interest rate, then nominal and real interest rate, monetary policy, okay, which this book doesn't have, and it talks about individual countries as well, you can see. Aside from fundamentals, they also talk about economic indicators, okay? They didn't really state like economic indicators, but this chapter is about that. And then it goes all the way to the back. Labor market report, consumer data report. So you have the typical economic indicators like employment reports, okay? ADP report, employment report, consumer reports, retail sales, PMI, ISM, manufacturing, building permits. Okay, these are very important economic indicators you need to know. Okay, so if you want something more specific to Forex, then you can read this. If you want to understand economics in general, then these 2 or one of these, okay, depending on your needs. So with that, I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.